All right, so we are going to go over how to price your lash sets. So, most people they would just go look for lash techs in their area and just copy their prices. But, um what's the word I'm looking for? Like their prices may not work for you and your business because there's different factors that go into coming up with your lash prices, and then I'm gonna go over like a few different formulas you can use to come up with your prices. But yeah, the factors are like your location, the experience, the overhead, like how much you're paying in booth rent if you are. Some people lash from home, so they don't have to add those expenses into their business. And supply cost. So if you go look at two other lash techs and copy um, their prices, you might be copying from someone. Let's say you jump into the game and you go get you a suite, and you're getting the best products that you see that's being marketed online. You're putting money towards your marketing on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. You're in the city or whatever, so you copy the prices of someone who may be lashing from home. They're in a smaller town. um, the experience may not be like where your experience is. They may not be using the high-end products that you've chose to use, so the factors are different. So it's very important that you come up with prices that works for you and your business goals and whatnot. So the beginner lash tech average hourly rate wage ranges between $14 to $20. Okay, so the easy way to do that, let's say you start on the lower end, which is like $14. All you would have to do basically is take that $14. Wait, let's say we're doing for a classic set. We're going to do classic hybrid volume. So let's say we're doing a classic set and we're using the $14, and it takes you about 2 hours to do a classic set. It's like $28, right? Make sure. Sorry, y'all. I like literally suck at math, but yeah, it's $28, right? That would be the average cost of a classic set, but that's like really, really, really low, even for a beginner. But that's just the hourly wage. That's just you getting paid for the time that you are working on that client. So we will go ahead and add in things like, how much the cost of supply is. So let's say on average, like it's about $20. You're using about $20 worth of supplies on a client. That will bring us up to $48 for a classic set. And yes, most beginners do start off with these lower prices. 48. Okay. So yeah, then you can round that up to like 50 basically. Like I don't like 48 as a number, so I would round that to 50. Okay. So on the lower end, sorry y'all, my handwriting sucks, but on the lower end we would start our classic sets at $50. So let's say we're going to hybrid. Still using that $14 per hour. Let's say it takes you 2.5 hours. What does that give us? 14 times 2.5. We got $35. And you may be using a little more product on that client because now we're adding in volume lashes to make this set. So let's just say 25. One on top is 4, 5, 6. $60. Bam. That's how much we'll do for a hybrid set. And of course, there's still other things that you can add to inflate your prices. You can, some people will add their own tip so that they're not worried about getting tipped. They'll just add it into the price. So if somebody doesn't tip you, like, you're not missing out on anything. Like I said, if your overhead costs more, like you're putting more into your marketing, you have to pay for booth rent. I always say, like, if you're jumping into a suite and you got booth rent and whatnot, one set should cover whatever your weekly booth rent is, like, once you're in a suite. So let's say your weekly booth rent is like $150 a week. Your prices need to be starting at $150. So at least if you only get one client that week, you can cover your booth rent. Okay? Or at least half of it, Nobody wants to have a booth and can't afford it because they're not making enough money to afford it. Okay, so let's do volume set. $14. And let's say it takes you about 3 hours. It's $42. Yeah, let's say you're using a little more product. We'll up that to $30, which gives us a whopping $75. Okay? So that's what a price would look like if you use the lowest wage of $14 an hour. 50, 60, 75. Bam. And you can do the same thing for fills. Just put how long it takes you to do a fill. And if you just follow that formula, you will, if you follow that formula, you will be able to make your whole price list. Okay, so let's say you don't have like a wage that you want, like that you want to charge or whatever, but you have a goal of how much you want to make a month, or you need to make a month to make ends meet and keep your business running and see profit. Let's say $5,000 a month. I think that's a good range for a beginner lash tech. So let's say your goal is $5,000 a month, right? So we're gonna break this all the way down, and I'm gonna put the numbers that you can change in red, actually, to make this formula work for you. So you can change the goal. You can change the goal of how much you want to make. All right, and we're going to divide that by 4, because that's 4 weeks. And that should be about $12.50 if I'm not mistaken. Let's calculate that. 5,000 divided by 4. Yeah, $12.50 is how much you'll need to see every week so that you can make $5,000 a month. Okay. Now let's say $12.50 divided by, let's say you're working 5 days a week, like a normal lash tech would, right? So you can change however many days you plan on working. If you plan to work 3 days a week, 6 days a week, you can change that, okay? And that's just going to give us how much we need to see every day when we're taking clients. So we divide that by our 5. So we need to be making $250 a day. So this is a week. This is daily. Okay, and now for us to get our hourly wage out of this, we will divide that $250 by how many hours we plan on working a day. Okay. 250 a day divided by, let's say we plan on working 8 hours a week, or 8 hours a day. $250 divided by 8 hours. Here's our hourly rate. Sorry, these colors are just confusing me. Alright, bam. So that means we will make $31.25 an hour. Okay? So once you do that and you have the hourly rate, that would mean you need to be making $31.25 every hour that you are working so that you can see $5,000 a month. Okay? So let's say, one second. So yeah. So if you're working a regular 40-hour week, you will see that $1,250 every week. Does that make sense? I hope so. So you will still just take that hourly wage and do the same thing, but you would change the number and how long it takes you. So let's say our classic set, $31.25. It still takes us 2 hours to do a classic set, which brings us to $62.50, and it costs us $20 to lash that client, a product to lash that client, and that gives us $82.50. That's how much our classic set will be. You can round it up to, I would round it up to 85 just to make it even, and that would be your classic set. And yeah, you just do the same thing. So let's say we want to do a fill. If our fill only takes us 1 hour, $31 times 1 hour, that gives us $31.25. We add that $20. $51.25. You can up that to, you can round it down to 50, or you can round it up to like 55 per se. Okay, so your classic set will be 85, and your fills will be 55. And that is how you would do this. Come up with your lash brushes. Okay, so let's say we want to build our whole price list, right? Whole price list. I'm gonna show y'all, and y'all just follow along and do this for your own business. So we have our classic sets. It's just a basic price list. I'm not adding no mega volume, no wispy, none of that. Just very standard. So you should do this whole little thing that I'm doing before you make your booking site, okay? So we already got we're gonna use the same goal of $5,000 a month for everything. All right, so we're still gonna use our classic that we already did. So our set started at 85 in our fill. But sometimes what I see people doing when they do their fill prices, they'll either cut it in half, like literally just make it half. So if we did half of 85, the fill would be like $42. So do half, and as you can see, you're like shorting yourself. If we was to just do $42, you're shorting yourself a few dollars off the hour. Okay. And some people just pick a price lower, like $10 less than the full set. Some people do that as well. So yeah, we have our classic set. Let's do our hybrid set breakdown. So it was $31.25. Let's say that takes you about, I don't know, an extra 30 minutes to do, I would say. 2.5. $31.25. It's 2.5. Oh. That gives us like $78.12. Weird number, but you know, we're gonna round it. Okay. We're gonna add our product costs to that. Wait, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, I didn't mess up there. So yeah, let's say it's about $25, because now we're adding volume lashes to the mix. Did I? Okay, I know what I'm thinking about. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so yeah, 25 added to that. That gives us 103. I hope my math is correct. Now I use my calculator. Let's see. Plus $25. It was correct. Look at me growing up. So yeah, 103. I would round that up to about, you can round it up to 105 or round it up to 110. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to round it up to 105 so we can have a round number. Okay? So we go up here to our chart and we put 105. And let's do our hybrid fill. Let's say it only takes you like an hour and a half to do. That gives us $46.87. Alright, but you know, we're gonna round it. You're probably using less product, but we're gonna keep it standard. 25. That gives us 71. 87. We can round that up to 75. Wow. Now let's do our volume set. So we have the 31. So let's say it takes you about 3 hours, maybe. That's gonna give us $93.75. And we're gonna add our $20. Well, we're gonna add. We got 30. Let's just say it costs a little more to do a volume set. You're using more lash strips, more glue. Of course, you don't have to follow these numbers. You can determine how much it's costing you to, how much product you're using on your client, and how much that costs. Okay, you can determine that. But I'm just giving example numbers just to help you understand the formula. But yeah, so 12. That gives us 123. We can round that up to 125. So our volume costs $125. And a fill, let's say that takes you 2.5 hours. Did we get that number already? 78.12. We're adding $30 to it. And we can round that up to 110. So yeah, that will be our volume fill. So it's a little high, but that's because we put that it only takes like 30 minutes less. So let's say we did. You can either shorten how long it takes you, but if it doesn't take you shorter, then you can shorten how much product you're using. Because if you're doing a fill, you're really not using the same amount of product, but everyone's different. So let's say it just took us 2 hours, right? We have that number up here somewhere, don't we? Yeah, $62.50. Add that $30. That gives us $92.50. You can take that up to $95. So your volume fill could also be $95. I think $95 looks better. So yeah. And then you will have your price list. And you would go to your booking site and add your prices just by doing this formula or this one. So basically, yeah, you just determine how much you should be making hourly. And come up with your prices versus just going and copying other prices. Okay, this is the most effective way to do it. So as a beginner lash tech, this is your range. So this price list that I came up with is maybe for someone that would be a little more advanced, with the $31.25 as the hourly rate. Maybe a little more advanced, maybe licensed. If you are licensed, you can come out the gate with 20 plus. If not, then you can stay within the range your first year. And as you get more experience and you're moving up, bam, you start upping your prices. The more education you get, the more experience you get, the more you're adding to your business to make it better, the more those prices need to increase. Okay? But yeah, I think that's about it on pricing your lash sets. Of course, if you have any questions, you could just ask them below in the comment section or DM me, either one. And yeah, that is all.